Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pash On Podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pash.
Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another podcast interview as we get ready for NADA 2024 in Las Vegas. I want to talk about breakthroughs in modern retailing. In order to do that, I brought three of the key leaders at CarNow because they have some breakthrough announcements that they're sharing this week, and I want to ask some questions. So on today's interview, I have Tim Cox. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for CarNow. I have Kai and CarNow. He is the new CEO of CarNow. And of course, fan favorite Bob Lanham. He's the SVP of Retail Development and Marketing. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Have for having us.
Yeah, I always like ask three people to say hello at the same time. So, hey, NADA, there's so much buzz going on. We're going to be releasing this podcast on January 31st, just a few days before the action kicks off. It's the day I'm flying out to Vegas. But I wanted to cover two really important conversations because it's a fulfillment of some presentations, some ideas we discussed a number of years ago at the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference. So I'm going to start with you, Bob. You've been working for over 2 years with Kia to power a better retail experience. And in fact, when you gave me a briefing, it reminded me of a concept I had many years ago that I shared at our conference, that dealers do not want to be forced to use a single digital retailing platform. Wouldn't it be great if there was an interconnect, a black box that would connect the OEM's digital retailing experience to any digital retailing experience that dealers chose within a managed program? And here we are, 2024, as if someone was staring at my notes. CarNow is powering what I think is the architecture of the future, powering an amazing brand-controlled experience, but giving dealers choice. Bob, let's start with it. At a high level, what's different about this announcement as compared to other OEMs, which have one platform and the dealers are forced or strongly negotiated into using a single vendor?
Yeah, Brian, you nailed it when you introed what the program is going to look like. You know, this truly was retailer and customer focused first. And Kia at this point wanted to ensure that the dealer still had choice of what digital retailing tool they wanted to use, of course, within the certified program that they have. So I think that's the biggest difference. You know, we will be powering Kia.com's e-commerce platform, but the sole purpose of that is to quickly transition the potential buyer from Kia.com to the dealership's website, and more importantly, to the dealership's digital retailing tool of choice.
You know, and what's exciting about this is that the desire of Kia aligns with, I believe, most dealers who say, look, I'm part of a 10-store dealer group, 20-store dealer group, and we're using a digital retailing platform. How do you make it easy for me so that across my dealer group, I don't have 5 different retail experiences? So I want to congratulate the CarNow team and Kia for having the vision and the understanding that their retail network is truly a partner in the customer experience. So, Bob, let's dive in just a little bit more. From what I understand, a consumer who's working out maybe their trade and credit on the national site through this intermediary will be able to push that deal data into a digital retailing platform of the dealer's choice within the Kia Managed program. Initially, that will be CarNow, and the idea is to save all the rekeying, all the data, so that when it pushes into CarNow or a competing DR tool, there's no rekeying. Is that a fair summary?
That's exactly right. It's one-time data entry for the consumer or potential buyer. So whether they started on the dealership's website or kia.com, because it's one-time data entry, that data will seamlessly be transitioned between, tier 1 and tier 2. And like you said earlier, Brian, I do want to give a great deal of credit to the folks we've been working with at Kia, because from the start, it truly was retailer and customer focus. And I'm excited that I think we actually did that. We accomplished what we were looking to do.
And Bob, I appreciate that, kind of summary, because when there were like 15 digital retailing companies, and when we saw, like, let's just say Lithia with their driveway platform and other dealer groups pushing at their national, kind of brand promise, I was like, man, what is it going to look like at a dealer group that has 50 stores or 100 stores? How do you train? How do you create a consistent experience? And of course, this solved the problem. What I'm also excited about is right now for Kia dealers, if they choose to have CarNow as their digital retailing platform, the data from Kia National goes into their dealership's CarNow platform. And now with your showroom tool, when that customer comes in, it's one data record, continually updated through conversational commerce or through phone calls. And when they come in, they're seeing exactly the same data, the same experience, the same general interface. How is the showroom product now transformed the stickiness of the CarNow retail experience with your customers?
Brian, this is my favorite part. We know consumers are spending upwards of 10 plus hours researching what vehicle they want to buy, but more importantly, what vehicle they want to buy and at how much can they afford, right, to buy that vehicle, whether it's a lease or a finance or an outright purchase. I'm in market myself looking for a few vehicles, and you spend a great deal of time switching cars and models and payments and etc. So one of the most frustrating aspects we have learned is when someone walks into the dealership and the up walks through the two doors and they're greeted. What normally happens? We start completely over. Come to my desk, let me get your name, number. Now, what vehicle were you looking at? Well, those days are over with this program. As the consumer walks in, they can check in with a QR code that is in the email of the recap of everything they did online. They can obviously check in with their first and last name. And once they're checked in, the dealer gets immediately a view of all of the activity that potential buyer or consumer did online, so that the dealership can pick up right where that consumer left off. And what does that build? First and foremost, trust, right? It instantly builds trust. Secondly, what is the number one killer of deals? Time, right? Time kills deals. That's not anything that any one of us on the call created. So we're instantly saving time by picking up exactly where the consumer left off. And then the dealer just has to review the deal. And the dealers that do it well understand that this is the consumer's deal, not the dealer's deal. And when you put the control into the consumer, what happens? It's a win-win situation for both. And what we're seeing, like others, what we're seeing is the dealer tends to make a few more bucks on the front and the back end, because again, it's that sentiment around the dealer feels in control. It's their deal, and they tend to negotiate less.
Well, again, I hope that other OEMs listen to this wonderful story. Again, a few years ago, I outlined, like, it's going to be chaos within dealer groups if every manufacturer had their own platform that had to be configured on each franchise site. What I see now is this black box. The independent interconnect's job is to just push data from the national site into approved DR tools. And then what this also does is allow the network to see which tools are being embraced most by consumers. And that's important information, of course, for the OEM to see which workflows, which designs are most loved by consumers. So, Bob, Thank you for sharing this. Tim, you know, really building CarNow from the ground up. This is kind of a proud father moment, right? I mean, no one likes to be boxed out of an OEM deal. Of course, it's great to win an OEM deal until you lose it. This is really an open marketplace for innovation, and I'm sure you're feeling pretty proud that this is the first OEM that has really allowed best of breed technology to win.
Yeah, Brian. In fact, my Facebook post, I'm dubbed the sentimental one, but yeah, it was a proud papa moment. It was a proud papa that something that, has been our life's work. And just quite frankly, you don't need to look at me. You need to look at the other people on this call. You need to look at Bob and Roxanne and Drew and all the other people on the OEM team and our product team and engineering team. And again, Kia, quite frankly, that truly wanted to make a difference, and they saw the problem as well. So, proud papa is a great analogy, but just so proud of our industry, of where we're going. And I think I said it before, was it Truman or Reagan that said it's amazing what you can do when no one cares who gets the credit.
Yeah. And that's what I'm seeing here. And,
yeah,
I will tell you that we have the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference coming up in June in Austin. We also have the Modern Retailing Conference. I'd love, Tim, to see if we can get some folks from Kia to come out and share their vision, because this is a win-win for their dealer body. It's a win-win for technology companies. And outside of automotive, we see more of this kind of open API, open interconnect, giving dealer choice, but focusing on the customer experience. And it's a perfect transition, Kane. How do breakthroughs in software happen? It's normally not because there's one smart person in a room that's locked in the basement, and comes out with this amazing product. It's through collaboration. And the second breakthrough that I wanted to share on this podcast is equally important, because we all go out to NADA. It's the largest automotive convention in our industry. North of 20,000 people are there, a lot of bright minds, but more importantly, CarNow was always a product built by dealers for dealers. You've taken it now a next step higher. You've elevated the potential of new innovation by using NADA as the epicenter with the new concept of collabed engineering. Talk to me about what collab is from a CarNow perspective.
Yeah, happy to, Brian. And before I get there, I want to thank you again for having us on your podcast, and appreciate everything that you do for the industry and your thought leadership. So great to be with you today. Yeah, so the way this kind of came about is I've been to probably a dozen NADAs, and my frustration with any show is it feels mundane after day two. You see the same things, the same messaging, and what I told the team is I said, we gotta be differentiating, and it's not I don't want to go to a booth to have a beer. I don't want to go to a booth to see the same demo that I've seen at 10 other stations. What is differentiating? And I'll just say it this way: is I'm a product minded CEO. I've grown up doing product. I've grown up doing data. I love interfacing with the customer. I love interfacing with partners, and just really understanding not only where we're at today, but more importantly, where do we need to be tomorrow? And the concept of our booth was a traditional booth, 2-story workstations on the bottom, conference room on top for meetings. And I said, that just seems like a waste. Why don't we do something a little different? Let's clean out that conference room and let's make this a full multimedia UX lab. And I can't take credit for the collab sort of name, but it's for collaboration. And the idea was, let's put up 40 appointments over the 2.5 days, and let's just see, how we can get dealers into the booth to look at new ideas, new concepts that we're envisioning, this year. We want to get them built this year. But here's where here's where the interesting part comes in is that, I've talked to many of our partners, I've talked to many of our competitors. Naturally, we're all sort of a family in automotive, trying to, help the sector. But at the end of the day, what I typically find is, and a large portion of the time, is that people build software within their offices. They build it within their homes. They rarely get to talk to, or do they go out and talk to the people that are buying the product or that want the product. And what's frustrating when I see that or hear that is that it's a waste of time, B, it's a waste of money, and C, does it really sort of reflect what the industry needs? And so before we even write a line of code, we have created 3 conceptual ideas that we're going to test in the collab with the dealers. And we want real feedback. Like, to the idea where I've instructed, even in the, as we're planning this, is not to talk, and really sort of allow the dealers. We will have the images, we'll have the click-throughs, we'll have this multimedia, basically presentation board that we can write on and we can brainstorm on and collaborate on, with the dealers in the room. And the goal is to allow them to give us feedback. We will obviously steer the conversation. We'll have the conceptual ideas on the screen, but we really, truly want to know through, a sold out, by the way, 40 time slots sold out. We will have 40, groups in the room, over the 2.5 days to tell us what their feedback is or what their thoughts are. So I couldn't be more excited of what we're going to show. We've got everything from AI to a scheduling service product, to envisioning a way to, how could you plan your day better within the dealership or within the BDC with the people that you have, and utilize our tools in a more effective manner. So there's even a little bit of an AI flavor there. So I think it's going to be really exciting. As I said, it's pretty much sold out at this point, and we're really looking forward to getting the collab off the ground.
That's awesome. And you know what? I've been in collaborative development environments, and it's just amazing how quickly iterations can happen, especially when people from different experiences, different roles. I love this idea, and it would be really good to follow up post NADA, Kane, just to understand, hey, what did you observe? What were some of the breakthroughs? Did it work? Because I think this could be a model, right? While everyone's together at this national conference, instead of being, another party or another chicken dinner, what if it could be almost a tradition of breakthroughs? I think that's possible. Do you agree?
I do. And look, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it done before. I've seen, VR, and I've seen AR, and I've seen far-reaching ideas that don't feel like to me that they would be relevant in the next 2 to 3 years or even 5 years. But AI is going to be the buzz. You and I know that. Analytics, data science, all the above. But how can you do something with that and go home and, go back to the office, take the feedback and actually create it? And what I'm really, truly excited by is, if, we get the 40 dealers, which I don't think we're going to have a problem with, coming through, we now have, potentially 60, 80 different inputs into our product roadmap, validates our product discovery. Before we even touch a keyboard on a line of code, we really truly understand what the customer need is in a scientific manner. We truly have what the customer need is, and then we can start the development. And I think it'll accelerate the development to get our product in beta and into production even faster.
Well, listen, I will tell you, for the dealers who are listening, they're probably saying amen. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a dealer after a demo, and they say something like this: Brian, I don't know who developed that product, but that's not going to work at our dealership. And it's not uncommon just to be like, hey, it's kind of a good product, not built for car dealers, but maybe they'll get it right. And I just think of all the time and money that was wasted and build up, and then one or two things are missed that would really make the product more attractive or more useful or a higher value, and they just missed it out.
Yeah, and it's a big, Brian, it's a big reason we're bringing our, our designer, our lead designer, is that, even with the interactive whiteboard, is that, or the multimedia board, is to have our designer there to capture exactly what you just said. We hear from 10 dealers, why couldn't this be like this? Or why couldn't we have this? That is where the designer can really capture all that feedback. Say, okay, I've heard this 10 times. Like, this is a concept now this is something that we should absolutely think about. Now we can come back and we can brainstorm that and do really valid A/B testing on those different ideas. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Love it. Love it. Well, gentlemen, I am super excited to see how this product platform has evolved, how open you are for feedback, and really continuing on the tradition of software built by dealers for dealers. And now, Bob, with the announcement of Kia, really a platform built to bridge the gap and needs of OEMs and dealers. This is the first time I'm hearing something that really checks all the boxes. You've heard me write about SmartPath from Toyota, and I like the fact they didn't force SmartPath on their dealers, but basically said, hey, we're going to build this product. In the meantime, find something that you like. But still, it doesn't solve the problems. The SmartPath strategy doesn't help when a large dealer group is using a preferred DR experience and have invested millions of dollars in training to be able to have, one-off solutions in their Toyota store. So it's great to finally see, Bob, an OEM getting it right. Any other thoughts as you reflect? Do you think that this could be a model for other OEMs built on the open API architecture that CarNow has offered Kia?
Absolutely. And we are actively having conversations and would also welcome having more conversations with not only OEMs, Brian, but you mentioned it a number of times. You've got dealer groups, regardless of the number of stores you own, whether it's 5 or 10 or 15 or in the hundreds. The way we built our infrastructure, the way we built this offering is that this can be utilized at the dealer group level, at the hub site level, right? At the group page level, so that each store who still may have the ability to make the decision at the store level on what tool they want to use can still do so, but maybe at the dealer group level, like I said, the hub site level, we follow the same model that we're doing with the OEMs, and that's how we built it. We built it in a way so that it would be open and that there's still choice at the store level.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea for the dealer group website, which normally is an orphan, being able to have the CarNow tech on the group site and being able to feed, obviously, stores that are using your platform or another platform. Once I think dealers understand the beauty of that, especially in entrepreneurial models where the ownership group might give GMs flexibility to choose which DR tool they want, but wants uniformity on the group site. Man, that just opened up my whole brain to another whole strategy. Bob, I'm sure you've already thought about it.
Well, we took the original plan from you from a number of years ago. We'll give you our plan for the dealer groups right here. How's that?
Yeah, come on, let's go. Well, I am so grateful that the three of you took time. I know everyone's busy getting ready for NADA. Dealers know how to look up CarNow on the schedule, but for those who are organized and actually keep notes. What's the booth number, Bob, that people should mark down? And do you know approximate location? So some people aren't number people, but they're kind of like area. What can you tell us about the booth number and location?
Yep, we're in the West Hall. We're close to Ford Motor Company, so you can look at it from there. And our booth number is 5149W, which stands for West.
Okay, great. Well, gentlemen, thanks for your time today. Those of you who are listening and heading out to NADA, I'll be at the PCG digital booth most of the day, if not when I'm speaking at other booths. And I want to encourage you, this is the show that you should really be focusing on: the customer experience, the preservation and activation of your first-party data to give your retention strategy real solid foundation to grow your business and to compete against the headwinds that surely are coming in the days and weeks ahead. If this is the first time you're listening to one of my podcasts, you should know that there are hundreds of interviews with industry leaders that are trying to improve automotive retail for the consumer, for the dealer, and the OEM. So make sure you just search for the Brian Pash podcast on your favorite podcast channel. And I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you that dealers rely on digital marketing and online strategy to represent their brands as people are out and shopping for vehicles. The number one place where dealers and technology leaders go to learn about the latest strategies to sell more cars in the digital age is the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Austin, Texas. Just go to digitalmarketingstrategies.org to get your tickets and take advantage of the new mentoring programs that we have included, which start in March with our coaching sessions online in March, April, and May leading up to the DMSC event. So thanks for listening, gentlemen. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see everyone at NADA at the CarNow booth to learn more about the future of automotive retailing.